So can we now come back to some more presentations? Chakradhar, Saswade, would you like to make your presentation now? Since no? So I said Professor Chakradhar Saswade right now. Yes, we just take him and then we're just going back to the sequence we had abandoned. Then we come down here. Professor Chakradhar Saswade. Yeah, we had left some speakers, so we just go down back now.
Thanks to organizers. Yeah. Well, I'm going to present a course actually which is conducted in foundation program. This is 1 year common 2 semester program which is offered before students branch out to the different. This course particularly comes in the second semester, and this is at its background. The true India is to be found not in its few cities, but in the 700,000 villages, which is said by the Gandhi. Then comes the statement from the Charles Sims in the India report. Lota, that simple vessel of everyday use, stands out as perhaps the greatest, the most beautiful thing. But how would one go about designing a lota? First, one would have to shut out all preconceived ideas on the subject and then begin to consider factor after factor. This course borrows a lot from the Christopher Alexander's Notes on Synthesis of Form, a book he has written after his visit to India in 1960s. You know, in 1961 he was in India before he has written a book, Pattern Language. So he compiled his experiences in the form of Notes on Synthesis of Form, and in which there is one wonderful article on the determination of component for an Indian village. So he says that every design problem begins with an effort to achieve fitness between two entities, the form in question and its context. The form is the solution to the problem. The context defines the problem. The context is that part of the world which puts demand on the form. Everything in the world that makes demands on the form is the context. Now this is where he reiterates and stress much on that it is not anything else. It's not just the pleasure, it's not just an aesthetics, but it's the fitness with the context which is essential for the birth or for the generation or for creation of a new form. And designer is a form maker. Now this is the objective of this particular course. The design cannot exist in isolation. Now it is absolutely essential for a designer to understand fully the social, cultural and physical environment in which his or her design has to operate, so that the design has a meaning and relevance to the people. It is an initiation of the student designer. We prepare students to go to the village. We make them, motivated so that they take up that in-depth study which is supposed to be happening in 2 weeks spread initially, which is proposed as a course to understand the Indian environment and the villages particularly. To study and understand the Indian environment with a designer's responsibility, that is what is emphasized on. It helps broaden one's perception about the Indian environment in terms of cohesive interrelationship and interdependence of its physical components. It helps develop an ability to approach and mix with the people in the environment to share experiences and learn things directly as they happen in the life. It helps develop a holistic perception which integrates different aspects connected to a single object on one hand and various significant events happening over a time cycle related to the same object on the other. It helps form a gradual understanding of the processes and forces shaping an environment. Now here is where I want to show you where exactly this course takes place. This is a representation of all the courses across the year which happens in the Design Foundation program in NID. We write from the bottom. Students are given an orientation to the perception, observation, and representation in the form of freehand design drawing. Then the isometric drawing. Then comes the planar and solid courses in planar and solid geometry. Then in basic design we have the course in elements of composition, principles of aesthetics and elements of composition, color and composition. Then comes the material and the sensibilities related to the material properties and the form generation from the variety of material. Say for example plastic, planar, solid, and the linear materials are explored. Following which it comes the course called space, form and structure, in which the students are given input in the meaning, the semantic aspect, as well as the storytelling aspects of the visual design. After which follows the course which we are now going to see in the two portfolios of students I am going to show you, is the environmental perception, which was first conceived in 1979 and which was earlier called as the environmental exposure, but later which was been changed to the name which is its present name, what is the environmental perception. It was started by Professor Kumar Vyas as environmental exposures, essentially to sensitize students, to expose students to the real life situations by living with the villagers, by spending time with the village, analyzing, studying, observing, perceiving, and forming connections between variety of things which are detrimental into the design decisions, or which are influencing in the iteration, which is an enduring iteration going on in the cultural artifacts in the country. This course becomes an interesting prelude to the design process, which is handled by Professor Ranjan in NID. Now he is retired from NID, but other team of professors is handling this course. Now this slide is to show you that this course in which you are going to see the lot of slides are of the drawings, which are the drawings from observations in the context, to show you that it is not the drawing only, it is this inquiry which begins from the need of an object. What do you think when you look at any context or any object? Students are given this orientation to form thoughts about any system or any object and context before they they start drawing it actually. So we hand over a very long list of it is not readable, I understand it, but a long list of the context which are presented in the book of this determination of form in the for the Indian village by Christopher Alexander. And students are expected to connect, and approaches are expected to be elaborated at at micro level and natural and artificial, so that the thoughts are formed. These are the series of binaries which are discussed in the class. Now here is the portfolio of one student, and which I will go through very quickly. Now students starts their representation of environmental experiences or impressions in the form of drawings. So students do a recce of the village. They enter to the village and they make a very natural, very organic map of it. What we call is a map of their experiences, and it is not to the scale. It is just to represent how they traveled, how they came across variety of experiences in the village. Student represent from the map level to the public landmarks, and they understand the context of such kinds of landmarks in a village, and the street views. It is expected that from landmarks you come to the streets, and then you enter into the houses of the people. These are the impressions of the students who are slowly entering into the houses of the people and studying the variety of systems of storages, systems of cleaning. Here it is not there, but system of maintenance of variety of things, and so So students are also encouraged to look at the processes, and activities which are going on in the villages. Students basically spend time with villages. They develop a very good rapport with the villagers, and collect the information. The idea here is not to go with a questionnaire and make a survey and come up with a quantitative data, but to have a first-hand experience of the artifacts and the contexts and systems there. These are very detailed studies and observations which are inscribed along with the processes and the relationships of the elements over there. This is where at the end of the course student come with conclusion. This is another portfolio of another student. So this student has paid more attention to the living beings, humans, and the dwelling spaces.
Time, yes.
Well,
What time, yes.
right. Thank you.